So, Coco, how did you get started on radio?
I did a research paper my senior year of high school, and it was on careers, and everybody was like doctors and lawyers, which is fine, but it wasn't in my wheelhouse, so I was like, let me do something fun.
Yeah.
I was like, what about a DJ? And so I was just reading about Howard Stern. I was like, that's awesome. That's what I want to do, but not as inappropriate as Howard Stern. So I did this research paper, and my teacher gave me, I want to say it was like either a B plus or A minus, because she said that wasn't a real job. So, boom, here I am, like working at a radio station. So,
Okay, so what do you love about your job and the fun different things? I know what I like about your job.
what's that?
All the people you meet.
So that's the perk, is all the celebrities, going to all the concerts, going to all the shows. And I don't want this to sound like, yeah, right. But honestly, being a part of the community and being a part of something bigger, and where you get to give out information about something, or somebody sends you an email, says, thanks for saying happy birthday to my daughter, honestly is the most rewarding thing.
For those of us who don't know necessarily what Making Strides is, can you tell us what it is?
Okay, so it's actually Making Strides Against Breast Cancer. So Making Strides Against Breast Cancer is with the American Cancer Society, and it is their signature event that is a non-competitive 5K fundraising walk, where the whole community gets involved and we walk a 5K. But leading up to that, you might have seen a lot of the events on Facebook, or, like our team, Bonnie's Boo Brigade, has been doing bake sales in September. So that's what we do. It's just a non-competitive 5K walk. But it's funny because there's some people that run it and they're back, and I'm like, you just did 3 miles like that. So it's really cool to see that, Making Strides Against Breast Cancer.
Cool. How did you become involved?
So I started dating Jason, who's now my husband. We'll be married 5 years in April. I love him. And when he first I don't really like you, he was kind of texting and calling me. And one day he said, I'm on the way to MD Anderson. And I was like, what? And he's like, yeah, my mom has breast cancer. And he said it so nonchalantly. And I think as a woman, and as I don't take that very lightly. And I think maybe he was obviously trying to deal with it himself. So his mom was fighting breast cancer while we had just started dating and all that kind of stuff. So when the walk came around, I wasn't really a part of the walk. I said, hey, do you want to walk for your mom? And of course, he did it because we were dating and he wanted to be nice and was like, yeah, we can do that. So it was me, Jason, and my roommate, and then a couple of friends at the apartment complex who just put puff paint on a t-shirt. And this was at Cole Park, I want to say 8 or 9 years ago. And it was just 6 of us that did that. But yeah, his mom was going through breast cancer.
Obviously, they raise money because you're fundraising. Where does this money go?
Okay, so here's the greatest thing about Making Strides Against Breast Cancer and the American Cancer Society. And I've learned so much from Kayla Hanson, who is the director there, is that a lot of that money stays local. So say a woman needs to get a wig, prosthetics, maybe a ride to or from chemotherapy. Imagine how sick you are when you have the flu and you need to go to the pharmacy. It's tough for you to even get out of the car, but could you imagine sitting for hours and getting chemotherapy? Now you have to drive yourself home. So it provides services like that, but it also provides for research, which obviously doesn't happen here, but we do a lot of stuff locally for women who are battling breast cancer.
That's actually really cool. So for those who aren't already involved and want to be, how do we get involved?
Okay, so this is even more exciting too, because I know that in everybody's life, you just get busy and you kind of forget, or I don't have time to do that. So you can donate online, Making Strides Against Breast Cancer.org/Corpus Christi TX, or you can volunteer. I mean, the American Cancer Society has so many wonderful things that you can get involved with. Like the Cattle Barons that happens, a lot of you probably go to that event, and then they also do a golf tournament. So there's a lot of ways that even if you don't do Making Strides Against Breast Cancer walk, you can still donate or volunteer with the American Cancer Society.
Do you have any awesome moving stories? I mean, Jason's mom was, I
Yeah.
actually didn't know about that. So that's actually really cool that that's how you got involved. But do you
Yeah.
have some good stories to share?
You know, gosh, I'm just getting goosebumps right now and hope I don't cry just because, I'm about to, I think we worry or we get, I always just get so, we worry about the everyday stuff that happens to us and we think about all the stress we have in our lives. But when you meet these women who come up to me and say, thank you for being a voice, it's like, there's no words to explain that because I've never had to get chemotherapy. I've never had to wrap my bald head in a scarf. I've never had to get a mastectomy or, worry about how I look in the mirror. I've never thought about any of that kind of stuff. So when a woman comes up to me and says, thank you for pushing this walk or thank you for, getting involved, that really just kind of puts your life into perspective on what these women go through. But I met a beautiful woman. Her name's Virginia, and she's one of the Portraits of Hope this year. There's 4 ladies throughout the Coastal Bend. They just share their stories. And Virginia is actually one of the women that I had met. And she was just sharing about how, like her, she just went through all of her everyday stuff until she found out she had breast cancer. And she was thankful about how they helped her with the rides. And she was thankful how they helped her with the, comforting. Because it's scary. I mean, I can't imagine sitting in that doctor's office and getting told you have breast cancer, and it's such a beautiful thing to be a part of. So you hear all these wonderful stories of hope, and then you hear about those stories of, the women who didn't make it, and it just really makes you check yourself and go, man, I need to be more thankful about my life. But if you ever meet any of these Portraits of Hope women, just sit down and just talk to them. They're so beautiful, and they just share their story around town. I'm sorry, I always just get so so emotional because there's a lot of things that I gripe and moan about, and then you meet a cancer survivor. It's just like, wow, and they do live their life to their fullest, and we should do that every day.